Welcome everyone to my channel. I'm Roger from Roger RC, and today I'm taking you along for my third attempt with the ARRMA Talion EXB. If you've been following the channel, you'll know that this truck and I haven't had the easiest relationship so far. After a few frustrating runs and some unexpected breakdowns, I've repaired everything once again and I'm ready to give it another shot. Hopefully, third time's the charm, and this run will be all about driving, having fun, and enjoying the Talion the way it was meant to be driven. So grab a drink, sit back, and let's see if the Talion and I can finally have a trouble-free day. The track is a mess once again. Even though temperatures have been well above 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit, a heavy storm rolled through the night before, turning the track into one big mud pit. We had to block off the worst section with cones and tape and create a shortcut around the deepest mud so we could still enjoy some driving. To avoid getting too frustrated with the terrible weather and track conditions, I decided to focus on completing full laps again and doing them as fast as possible. With the club championships just around the corner, every lap counts. So today is all about getting back into rhythm, building confidence, and finding some extra speed. Unfortunately, the longer I drive, the worse the conditions become. More and more mud gets packed into the tire tread, which means the grip gets worse with every lap. Before long, the Talion starts sliding all over the track again, bouncing from side to side and making it a real challenge to keep it under control. It definitely keeps things exciting, but maybe not in the way I would like. One of my fellow club members came up with what might be a brilliant idea. He suggested fitting a set of Creighton tires on the Talion, something he had seen on YouTube. It actually makes a lot of sense, so that's exactly what I'm going to try the next time I come here to practice for the club championships. Hopefully those tires will give me the extra grip I need and help keep the Talion pointing in the right direction. For me, it already feels like I've been driving much longer than during my previous two attempts, and that alone is a huge victory. After the frustrating start I've had with the Talion, simply being able to keep putting in lap after lap without constantly heading back to the pit table feels fantastic. It finally seems like all the time spent wrenching, repairing, and upgrading the truck is starting to pay off. The RPM rear arms and the new rear hubs have transformed the way the truck feels on the track. Everything feels tighter, stronger, and much more predictable. I also decided to install mud guards straight away, and on a track like this, they are definitely not an unnecessary luxury. With all the mud flying around, they are doing a great job of keeping at least some of the dirt away from the most vulnerable parts of the truck. The biggest difference, however, is the confidence the truck is giving me. The Talion now feels stable and composed, even in the slippery conditions. It tracks straighter through the corners, feels much less nervous, and gives me the confidence to pull the throttle harder than before. Instead of constantly expecting something to break, I can finally focus on driving, finding better lines, and trying to improve my pace. And the jumping performance? Absolutely incredible. To be honest, that was already one of the Talion's strengths during my first two outings, but it still deserves mentioning because it is simply that good. The truck launches beautifully, stays incredibly balanced in the air, and lands with confidence, even when the takeoff ramps are less than perfect because of the mud. Every jump feels controlled and predictable, which makes driving this truck an absolute joy. What makes this run even more enjoyable is that I can finally start exploring what the Talion is really capable of. With every lap, I learn a little more about how it behaves, how it reacts to throttle inputs, and where I can push harder. The more I drive, the more connected I feel with the truck. That relationship between driver and car is slowly starting to develop, and it is making every minute on the track even more rewarding. Of course, there is still room for improvement. The muddy conditions continue to make things challenging, and I already have a few ideas for future changes, like trying the Creighton tires next time. But for now, I'm simply enjoying the fact that the Talion is finally delivering what I hoped for when I bought it. Speed, stability, huge jumps, and most importantly, a massive smile on my face. With the club championships getting closer, sessions like this are exactly what I need. More laps, more experience, more confidence, and hopefully more speed. If today's run is anything to go by, the future for this Talion is looking very promising indeed. Even though I'm standing right in the middle of the track once again, instead of safely on the driver's stand, I still can't help but enjoy every minute with the Talion. In a strange way, moments like these are all part of the RC experience. Sure, having to walk out onto the track to rescue the truck isn't exactly ideal, but it does give me a chance to appreciate just how much fun this machine really is. Watching the Talion charge through the corners, soak up the rough sections, and launch itself effortlessly over the jumps is simply impressive. Despite the muddy conditions and the occasional off-track adventure, this truck keeps putting a smile on my face. Every run is becoming less about surviving and more about genuinely enjoying the drive. And honestly, that's what this hobby is all about. A few crashes, a little mud, some unexpected marshal duties, and a lot of laughter along the way. The Talion may still have a few tricks up its sleeve, but today it finally feels like we're starting to work as a team rather than against each other. Back on the driver's stand, I figured it was time for a few calmer laps. No full throttle, no crazy corner entries, just a chance to study the track and figure out where the real danger spots are. With the club championships coming up, knowing the track is just as important as having a fast car. So where are the dangerous sections? Well, pretty much everywhere. There is a reason this place is called a basher track. Every corner, jump, bump, and rut seems to be waiting for the perfect moment to catch you out. One lap the racing line feels great, and the next lap a hidden patch of mud or an unexpected bump sends the Talion in a completely different direction. Of course, with these muddy conditions and me trying to blast through the corners as fast as possible, things don't always go according to plan. Every now and then, I carry just a little too much speed into a corner, miss the ideal line, and suddenly the Talion decides to live a life of its own. And apparently, the truck didn't notice that there was a safety fence sitting right on top of the first banked corner. Instead of making the turn, the Talion launched itself straight into the fencing and managed to get completely tangled up in it. Not exactly the racing line I had in mind. So, it was time for a quick marshal break to free the truck from its unexpected encounter with the trackside barriers. Fortunately, no damage was done, so after untangling the Talion, it was straight back onto the track to continue the practice session. After all, every lap counts with the club championships coming up. I have a feeling that the upcoming club championship is going to involve some seriously competitive racing. But at the same time, I think it's also going to be absolute chaos. Organizing a race on a basher track with all kinds of different vehicles is going to be an experience unlike anything I've done before. With monster trucks, truggies, buggies, and who knows what else lining up on the grid, trying to predict the outcome is almost impossible. On a smooth, purpose-built racetrack, skill alone can often make the difference. But on this basher track, there are simply too many variables. One moment you can be putting in a great lap, feeling confident and hitting all your lines perfectly, and the next moment, your car catches a hidden hole, clips a rock, lands awkwardly after a jump, or gets thrown off course by a patch of mud. Suddenly, all your hard work disappears in an instant. On this track, luck is going to play almost as big a role as driving ability. That's exactly why I think the racing will be so unpredictable. Nobody will have a guaranteed advantage. The fastest car may not win. The most experienced driver may not win. Sometimes simply staying out of trouble, keeping the car in one piece, and driving consistently could be enough to achieve a great result. In many ways, surviving the race might be just as important as being quick. As for me, winning isn't really my main objective. Of course, standing on the podium would be amazing, and I certainly won't complain if it happens. But honestly, just taking part already feels like a victory. I'm genuinely excited about the entire event. Seeing everyone trying to master this difficult track, watching the different cars tackle the obstacles in their own unique ways, and witnessing all the brave overtaking attempts is going to be fantastic. I can already imagine the scenes. Drivers pushing hard to gain positions, cars flying over jumps side by side, the occasional collision, unexpected rollovers, and plenty of good-natured laughter in the pits afterwards. That's what makes club racing special. It's not only about results, it's about sharing the experience with fellow enthusiasts who all love the same hobby. And then, of course, there is the weather. If race day happens to be wet and the track turns muddy again, then the chaos will be complete. The grip will disappear, cars will be sliding everywhere, braking points will become little more than suggestions, and simply staying on the track could become a challenge. A dry race would already be exciting, but a wet race could turn into one of those unforgettable days that people will still be talking about months later. The club is currently working on a lap counting system, where every participant will have a transponder fitted to their car. From what I've been told, the winner isn't necessarily the car that physically crosses the finish line first. Instead, the system records the number of completed laps and the lap times, meaning that consistency over the entire race could prove far more important than outright speed. Exactly how the whole system works is still a bit of a mystery to me, but I'm sure everything will be explained before the championship begins. Whatever happens on race day, I'm already looking forward to it enormously. Fast laps, unexpected drama, muddy conditions, plenty of laughs, and a group of enthusiastic RC drivers all trying to conquer one of the toughest tracks around. What more could you ask for? It's going to be unpredictable, challenging, and probably slightly chaotic. And that's exactly why I can't wait. Well, that's it for today. My batteries are empty, but more importantly, the Talion is still running perfectly and hasn't broken down. After the first 2 attempts, I'm really happy with today's result. From now on, the plan is to drive at least 1 pack every week as preparation for the upcoming club championship. So keep an eye on the channel to see how this journey unfolds and how the championship itself will go. Thank you all for watching, and as always, on to the next RC adventure.